Almighty God, who, in thy infinite wisdom and providential goodness, has appointed the offices of rulers and councils for the welfare of society and the just government of man. We beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge. All which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Good morning. House resumes and debate continues. And I just want to tell members, please, it's not a cat and mouse game in here. If you need to speak, please rise when the opportunity avails itself, because this, members waiting to see who's going to stand and all that, we're just wasting time. So, and then properly, if a member who has moved a motion or a bill sees that people are not rising, he has to stand up and reply. So, and then there's the complaint. Please, let's do things in a professional manner. And I'm going to use the word again, the magic word, honorable manner. Please, can we be all honorable members in here? Thank you.
Morning, Madam Speaker.
Good morning to you.
I rise to make my contribution to the supplementary appropriations for July 2016 to April 2017. And Madam Speaker, I don't expect my presentation to be very long, but in my presentation I will indicate without fear of contradiction that this labor regime is punishing and withholding from UWP-held constituencies the resources of the state. Why do I say so? If we look on the Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development, a total amount of $5.1 million was disbursed. The first allocation, vehicles, $400,000. Do we have 400 people in vehicles? I'm not sure. Colliho, $150,000, labor help constituency. Penville, $500,000. How many people live there? I don't know. Campbell, $96,596. Grand Fork, $49,700. Cassie Bruce, $64,000. That's for small business enterprises. Seems even within the Labour Party camp, there's a pecking order. Grand Fork just $64,000. Mero, $100,000. Granby, $100,000. Paybush, Lions here, $400,000. Then we have an unnamed, untitled allocation of $1 million. Oh no, sorry, this one was for music, to support development of music and artists. Then we have Laplane, Boetica and Delices, $400,000. Then we have another Lion's share, $1.2 million. But interestingly, this allocation is unnamed. We have no idea in this house who this went to. Thibault, $300,000. Cassie Bruce, $301,000. Where are the constituencies of the United Workers' Party? There's only 6 constituencies held. And the constituencies held by the United Workers' Party, they are the largest contributors to VAT and income tax. Watch the population centers, the demographics. Roseau North, the largest constituency. Roseau Central, Roseau South, large constituencies. Wesley, productive farming community. Marigot, Salisbury, major farming community. But we see that this doesn't meet the graces of the Labour Party regime. All of these, 5.1 million, and nothing goes. So you can understand the seeming and severing anger of the constituencies held by the United Workers' Party. And definitely, the people of these large constituencies will be making their voices heard, and we will hear them today again. Let's go back on the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Constituency Development. Grants and contributions, $212,000 to provide financial assistance for Carnival 2017 in various communities. You notice that the constituencies are not named. None of the constituencies held by the United Workers' Party got any contribution. Salisbury, what you got? Some chicken feed. Chicken feed. I noticed when I named earlier vehicles, Colio, everybody was quiet. Now the chicken feed that's 2005. Can you imagine that? Chicken feed. So why is it that the largest contributors of VAT can be overlooked like that? We will have a problem in Dominica. You will have that kind of anger. You will have that kind of anger. Now here you have, yes, I represent people who are angry, so I can't come like I'm not angry. I am angry. I am angry. Now, let's look on the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Constituency Empowerment. $87,600 to provide for the completion of community projects started in Dubla BS constituency. But if you look under there, you will not see any contribution to United Workers' Party held constituency. Now, in one case, I got a letter from the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment saying that $300,000 was given to a Pottersville Development Committee for projects happening in Stock Farm. Why is that so? What is that money going to a Pottersville Development Committee that's non-functional? A non-functional committee. There are committees in the Stock Farm area that can handle that kind of money, or that money could be put through the Public Works Department. It was for road repairs. Why isn't that money put through the Public Works Department? It's put to the Pottersville Development Committee, a non-functioning committee.
And members wait to speak, to reply. This crosstalk is bothering the people who are taking the notes of the House. Okay, when I read a transcript, I can see that they are distracted. And then later on, we will not be capturing what is really being said on the floor. I am asking members, all members on both sides, left and right of me, to keep your asides down. Please don't let me have to say that again. I'm not dealing with school children.
Thank you,
Though
Madam
sometimes
Speaker.
I think so.
Take note, Minister of Commonwealth. Now, I notice people are very noisy on the other side, so I thank Madam Speaker for her intervention. But when I wrote on in November, asking about the bridge and the condition of the bridge to the Minister of Common Works, she did not reply. The people of Roseau North are taking note of that. Disrespecting the people of Roseau North. The Parliament wrote to ask about the condition of the bridge, railings falling, no response. The Prime Minister understands that Roseau North, he cannot just not respond to Roseau North. He did reply, and I give him credit for that. But you must respect as a constituent. I'm your pal rep. As a constituent of Roseau North. You need to do better than that for the people of Roseau North. You have to ensure that when the cake is sharing, that Roseau North gets its fair slice of the cake. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. She can't go on the ground. Not that. Can't go on the ground.
Go ahead. No, I said go ahead.
Good morning to this honorable House. Madam Speaker, I rise to give my contribution on this unforeseen expenses for the period July 2016 to April 2017 in the amounts of $153 million. I always take pleasure in reminding the general public that supplementary payments and appropriations are supposed to be amounts that were unforeseen. So in the preparation of the budget, one did not anticipate having these expenses, and that's what is supposed to happen. And as a result, when we are seeing major projects coming in for payments within months after the budgetary allocation, it is always a matter of concern. As a matter of fact, in 9 months, we have spent in excess of 20% of the allocated budget for the period 2016-2017 in the amount of in excess of $153 million, Madam Speaker. That's alarming. I seek to look at history of Parliament, and I've never seen that before. It is alarming. The question is that poor spending? Is it wastage? Is it poor management? That is what is reflecting, Madam Speaker, that there is obviously poor management in the handling of the country's finance. We also look at the trend, Madam Speaker, and how these amounts are being financed. Back in 2010, I noticed that grants were approximately 46% of the appropriation amounts for supplementary payments. However, in this $154 million from 2010 to 2017, the grants has been reduced to 1%. In 2010, Madam Speaker, I noticed that local fundings and the government fundings were 31% of the appropriation. It is now up to 99%. It is saying to us, Madam Speaker, that obviously something is happening for our friends. We're apparently losing our friends. And it is also said, Madam Speaker, we must ask ourselves whether we're having some issues with the financial institutions, whether they no longer have any trust, Madam Speaker, in the Commonwealth of Dominica. At one point, Madam Speaker, when we look through the estimates, Madam Speaker, Madam, if we move, Madam Speaker, and we look at in the estimates, Madam Speaker, in the budgetary estimates, we have noticed that the CBI is noted clearly as a financier, or one of the areas that finance is coming from. But in the appropriation, Madam Speaker, we note that everything says the government of Dominica. Very interested. which would mean, Madam Speaker, that the government seems to be recording a surplus on the current revenue. And such being the case, Madam Speaker, if the government is recording a surplus on the current revenue, and if payments are coming from the CBI program and it's been recorded as government of Dominica, we must now say, Madam Speaker, that there's no reason why there should be an excuse that public servants cannot be paid their increases, Madam Speaker, but because we are now seeing that this government has serious surpluses being recorded on the books. Okay? Madam Speaker, these amounts that we are seeing in the appropriation, most of them were promises made during town hall meetings. The Labour Party town hall meetings where they went around with a shopping basket and they were simply dropping promises and monies to persons dressed in red. And people who would have put their names.
I want to remind the member about imputing improper motive. Now,
I realize, Madam Speaker,
just
a while
one
ago
moment, please.
when things were being said that you were not listening.
Just 1 minute, please. Certain members have concluded, very wrongly, I may add, that the chair is not supposed to point out these lapses. But let me assure you that I have the authority to do so and will be doing so.
Madam Speaker, is there something I said I would like me to withdraw? If it
No,
is, then I will withdraw it,
I'm
Madam
just
Speaker.
telling you, be careful about imputing improper
Madam
motive.
Speaker, I'm saying if there's anything that I said here that you would like me to withdraw, please bring to my attention, and I'll be very willing to withdraw it.
I will surely do that.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, coming from the basket, we did not see any evidence that the constituency of Wesley is being considered. Madam Speaker, this I cannot say is right. I can only say it is wrong. Madam Speaker, how do we have a situation where the government is spending $154 million, Madam Speaker, and the Wesley constituency is literally abandoned, Madam Speaker, in this expenditure? It is clear, Madam Speaker, that there's clear discrimination against the people of Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Palm Tree. Very clear, Madam Speaker. This money is, Madam Speaker, that is going around here comes from the passport. At the town hall meeting is CBI. In the appropriation is Government of Dominica. Very interesting, Madam Speaker. So it is conveniently CBI at the town halls. And when we come to the appropriation, Madam Speaker, we are seeing that it is coming from the Government of Dominica. The Minister of Commerce and Small Business, Madam Speaker, yesterday informed this Honorable House that every constituency is entitled and have received $300,000 as a contribution from the government for community development. Let me say, Madam Speaker, that the villages of Wesley and Woodford Hill, the constituency of Wesley, at this stage have received $0. And out of the statement, Madam Speaker, it is a natural expectation that the people of this constituency would expect to receive their $300,000 since it is noted that it is already paid. The question is, I would like to know, where is that money? Okay? Where is that money, Madam Speaker? Because the money is not in the village council, it is not in the farmers group, and these institutions, Madam Speaker, which I'm in touch with on a day-to-day basis, we have submitted projects, we have submitted requests to the government. I was accused by the government in Wesley just 2 weeks back of writing too many letters. But I am proud that it is a form of representing the people, and they have acknowledged, even if they're not responding, they have acknowledged, Madam Speaker, that I am writing letters. And this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to be out there sending stones or burning places. I'm supposed to write, Madam Speaker. I am supposed to write to make representation of the people, and that is what. Let me repeat.
Order, please.
Let me repeat myself,
the
Madam
member,
Speaker.
I'm sorry I missed that, but obviously you said something that was
Let me repeat myself, Madam Speaker. I said that I was accused by the government of writing a lot of letters, making requests on behalf of the constituency. I am saying that I am happy I'm doing that because this is the right thing to do. I am not going to be out there burning places and sending stones, Madam Speaker, for them to give the community. Okay? I'm not going to do that, Madam Speaker. If that's what they want, that would not happen. That would not happen, Madam Speaker. Okay? So, Madam Speaker, this village of Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Palm Tree expect that they should have received the fair share of the $1.5 million, Madam Speaker, that was used, and the $300,000, Madam Speaker, which I understood was paid into Wesley through someone or some entity. We need to know, Madam Speaker, who or which entity received that money. We have a $5.1 million, Madam Speaker, which went to small business. In the meantime, the young people and the small business from Wesley and Woodford Hill must face the NDFD, and they must face the aid bank, Madam Speaker. Isn't it farmers and fishermen who are into business? Isn't that small business as well? Madam Speaker, I am not seeing any part of that being paid to the constituency of Wesley. Further, Madam Speaker, further, when we look, Madam Speaker, at constituencies like the Penville constituency, they received $900,000. Madam Speaker, $900,000, while the Wesley constituency received nothing. In agriculture, Madam Speaker, an industry which is dominant to the Wesley constituency, we have noticed that out of this appropriation, only $113,000 went to the Ministry of Agriculture, out of $154 million, which is 0.07%. I don't know, Madam Speaker. If that is showing interest in the farming industry, then something must be wrong with my understanding, Madam Speaker. This is surely not showing interest in the industry, Madam Speaker. We have farmers in Wesley who are now in serious financial difficulties due to the reign of Black Sigatoka on the crops, Madam Speaker. Nothing, Madam Speaker, went to these farmers as compensation, something that I've asked for and requested. We had, Madam Speaker, the citrus trees were cut down by the instructions from the Ministry of Agriculture. Right now, Madam Speaker, not even the plantlets to replace these citrus plants that can be received. The farmers must purchase them, and even when they're ready to buy them, they are not available, Madam Speaker. Further, we have the international community who are seeking to support the farmers by issuance of fertilizer. But the fertilizer being sold in the village of Wesley and Woodford Hill for $30 and $35 a bag. For $30 and $35 a bag, Madam Speaker. By the way, no receipts being issued. No receipts being issued, Madam Speaker. $113,000 for agriculture. No receipts, Madam Speaker. $113,000, Madam Speaker. No plans for the abattoir. Madam Speaker, the coffee plant. No plans for the coffee plant, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have frustrated extension officers, Madam Speaker, but yet still 0.07%, Madam Speaker, goes to the Ministry of Agriculture. In the meantime, when efforts are made to support the ministry, the large screen television in the gardens are missing and fencing wires are missing, Madam Speaker. But that doesn't help. Madam Speaker, in the Ministry of Finance, we see $53.8 million, Madam Speaker. We are hearing again, Madam Speaker, that the airports will be placed in the Wesley constituency. They are running away from that. All the governments are running away from that. But at the end of the day, they are coming back with one thing, that it must be placed in the Wesley constituency. $2 million, Madam Speaker. $2 million. Preliminary investigations. In the constituency, we have not seen one official. We have not seen a surveyor. We have not seen a helicopter. We have seen nothing, Madam Speaker, but in the meantime, $2 million was spent. Is there a report on that? Where is the report, Madam Speaker? Will the report be tabled? We need to know what's going on. The farmers, Madam Speaker, was initially forced out of Crompton Point with the intention, Madam Speaker, that airports would be going there. We move, Madam Speaker, and we have also seen that lands have been acquired by the government, Madam Speaker, from the people of Wesley and part of Woodford Hill and Palm Tree. We are squeezing out the people out of the villages, Madam Speaker, and now we are hearing that there are going to be an airport on a new site. Madam Speaker, there is a natural and legitimate expectation that if you take the lands of the people of Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Palm Tree, that they should benefit directly or indirectly. Okay? There has been a history, Madam Speaker, where acquired lands and lands of the state are being sold to persons who are not even from the area. I am saying, Madam Speaker, that if we are going to move this airport location again, that the people whose lands were acquired in the constituency must now be engaged in an attempt to see how the government is going to give them first option to purchase the lands that was acquired, Madam Speaker, if the lands will no longer be used for the allocation of that international airport. And we're expecting the right thing to be done. In that sense, we expect the right thing to be done. $1 million, Madam Speaker, Ministry of Social Services approximately. That ministry spoke to a multi-purpose center. Now, this estimate, Madam Speaker, it is from July last year to April this year. These estimates, Madam Speaker, it is stating that $290,000 was spent towards the multi-purpose center in Wesley and Penville. The last time that the multi-purpose center in Wesley was worked on was in 2015. No work has been done since the passage of Tropical Storm Erika. However, I'm estimating half of 290 is about 145, Madam Speaker. So in excess of $140,000 have been spent on a center, and not a window, not a drop of paint was placed on that center, but it was spent. We need to know, Madam Speaker, exactly what is going on in this country. This is not fair, and I'm calling on the minister to investigate this matter. We must investigate this matter, because I am and have been requesting, we have requested that the multipurpose center be completed. I would be happy for the multipurpose center to receive attention and for it to be completed. But if $140,000 was issued during that period, but the money did not reach the multipurpose center, we ought to ask, where did the money go? Where did the money go, Madam Speaker? And I'm not here to accuse anyone. If it's a typographical error, then say it's a typographical error. And if it's a typographical error, I accept it. But at least someone acknowledged that the multipurpose center must be completed. So please complete the multipurpose center, Madam Speaker. And I'm expecting to hear something about that multipurpose center. We have also noticed, Madam Speaker, that $320,000 went towards the purchase of trucks for Portsmouth and Canefield. And I'm happy. I meet less garbage on the road. But, Madam Speaker, the constituency is swamped with garbage, Madam Speaker. We are trying our best. I've been encouraging the villagers to manage their garbage. I've been encouraging the villagers to parcel and separate the garbage, Madam Speaker. We have had meetings in the community, Madam Speaker, speaking to the people about it. But there's that much that the people can do. I am requesting, Madam Minister, that the same privilege be afforded to the councils of Wesley and Woodford Hill, and we are prepared and willing to share one dump truck. We are prepared and we are willing to share one dump truck if one truck is afforded to the people of the area. And also, Madam Speaker, I'm also suggesting that let us use NEP effectively, so give us a few workers under the NEP to work on that truck, Madam Speaker. But give them at least a 2-year contract so they can go to the bank and take a little loan. So they can take a little loan, Madam Speaker, within the contract for their 2 years. So I am hoping, Madam Speaker, that these words are not going to fall on deaf ear. But there's a lot of garbage in the area, and we need to clean the place. The villagers would be willing to do their share. The villagers are willing to separate the garbage. They are willing to put the garbage in one place. They would be willing to help to load the truck And I'd be happy to hear a commitment from the minister at this sitting of Parliament that we are going to get a dump truck. And I'm not asking for two. If I get one, we will share it, Madam Minister, between the both villages. Well, where's our priority, Madam Speaker? $160,000 to the Ministry of Education. But the playing fields, Madam Speaker, around the schools in Dominica all need serious attention. And I'm saying that for $153 million, some more should be put towards the education development of our children, brothers and sisters. And Madam Speaker, in Woodford Hill, we have had frequent closure of the schools in recent time because there's a shortage of water and the tank that is in the area is not functional. Okay, and we have been shutting down the schools. Well, Madam Speaker, they must shut down the schools because there's an outbreak of red eyes. And we know how red eyes can spread, Madam Speaker. Okay, so we need water. It is not something that we're asking for as vanity. It is something that is needed, Madam Speaker, and we are asking that some attention be paid to that. Ministry of Health, $5.8 million. Now, interesting, you know, because this is supposed to be supplementary appropriation for things that was not planned. So this government from July to now went into planning stage. They did their concept, they did their designs, everything, and now, Madam Speaker, in 9 months, they were ready to issue $5 million, Madam Speaker, $5 million to a national health insurance program. Madam Speaker, I want to ask, how, Madam Speaker, on God's earth did that happen? Where's the planning, Madam Speaker, that went into that? Did you get an actual report that was going to guide this operation? How are we going to continue the financing of the program? Let me put it on record, Madam Speaker, that I am in favor of a national health insurance program for the citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Let me put it on record. I am in favor of it, but I would like to see it done properly. I would like to see it, Madam Speaker, be able to finance itself. So, for example, Madam Speaker, why, Madam Speaker, haven't we looked at possibilities? Madam Speaker, this is the, we don't pilot.
Can you just guide me to the head, please, because I've lost.
Madam Speaker, we don't pilot insurance, sir. We do the actuary studies. Okay.
Which head are you under?
No, Madam Speaker, I'm under health. I'm under health, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I guess you missed me because I said Ministry of Health at 5.8.
That's what I'm asking. I had to be talking to the clerk on an urgent matter.
Oh, okay, Madam Speaker.
So that's why I'm asking you. What is it you said?
On the health, Madam Speaker. And it's so, Madam Speaker.
It was a head number. Can you tell me?
No, Madam Speaker. No, I can't tell her. No, you don't know herself?
Yeah, look at it. Look at it.
Okay, I'll find it.
Pilot National.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Okay, I'm speaking. Okay, so, Madam Speaker, I am saying that I am in support of this program, but this program must be financed. We must look at alternative ways, Madam Speaker, and means to finance it. So, for example, Madam Speaker, instead of putting a lump sum figure, Madam Speaker, which should be basic capital amounts for the operation of a national health insurance, we can look at, Madam Speaker, can we take a percentage of the VAT and put into there on a monthly basis, Madam Speaker, to help finance it? In that, Madam Speaker, in that, all because VAT has been overperforming. VAT has been overperforming. Okay? So, Madam Speaker, if we do that, all Dominicans will be paying into the program. Other question, Madam Speaker, can we decide to remove a portion, Madam Speaker, of the contributions from Social Security which goes towards health and medical services in Social Security? Can we decide, Madam Speaker, to move part of that into the financing? And Madam Speaker, under this government, there are a number of persons who between 60 and 65 would not retire. And as a result, can we look of selling a short-term retirement plan to these people, Madam Speaker, that will go towards help financing this national health insurance, Madam Speaker. And even, Madam Speaker, even if we shout and make noise, we are here to make suggestions into ways that we can help programs that are going to help the citizens of Dominica. So if I am putting forward some suggestions, Madam Speaker, and the members want to be criticizing the suggestions, that is all right. But the people of Dominica, listen, Madam Speaker, you see, Madam Speaker, we have to be here to seek to present things that are going to help the nation. So they won't be saying that we are not. Madam Speaker, it is not advisable to go into any insurance program without, first of all, seeking reinsurance support. It is not advisable, Madam Speaker. We should seek reinsurance support, and we should be speaking to other insurers to see, Madam Speaker, whether we could have other companies that are willing to co-insure, Madam Speaker, some of the risks that would exist there. Because, Madam Speaker, it is simply because we have established that there's a risk existing against the state why we are looking to see how we can avert the risk. And if we are looking to avert the risk, Madam Speaker, we must look to share the losses. How can we share the losses, Madam Speaker? Having a solid reinsurance program. How can we share the losses? Speak to other insurance companies who are willing to co-insure some of the risks, Madam Speaker. Okay? We have a pilot program.
You have 5 minutes left.
Sorry?
You have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes.
That's more time. That's more time. Yeah. Doesn't say no.
Madam Speaker, move on to give the member.
Can you speak as loudly as when you are doing your sides, please? I'm not hearing you.
Madam Speaker, we're asking to give the Speaker 5 more minutes to complete his contribution. No, 5, no. Yeah, 5, we have 5. Additional 5 minutes to complete his contribution. Second?
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the member get a further 5 minutes to complete his contribution. Those in favor? No. Those who in favor? Aye. Those against? No. The noes have it. You have 5 minutes. Pardon? That's not what my ears.
Madam Speaker, that's all right. That's all right, Madam Speaker. That's all right. That's what I'm entitled to. I'm not going to force it. So, Madam Speaker, I was saying that with this program, Madam Speaker, it is in place. It has been put in place. They say it's pilot, Madam Speaker. But if you're going to pilot something, you should have specific conditions under which you're going to operate. That's advisable. You must have limitations. You should have some things that you're going to exclude. But there have been very little said about these parts, Madam Speaker. And importantly, it is also an opportunity, Madam Speaker, and it was a great opportunity to create serious employment for additional persons, Madam Speaker. And I'm not speaking of 3 or 4 persons that it have done, Madam Speaker. A national insurance company, I would expect we should see no less than 50 persons being employed in a program like that, Madam Speaker, if it ought to be run and managed properly, Madam Speaker. So I am hoping it's going to be a scheme, Madam Speaker, but we're not going to have a scam. So I'm looking forward, Madam Speaker, to have this being done properly, Madam Speaker. Okay? Madam Speaker, Public Works, $35.5 million. Madam Speaker, I can't leave here until I inform the Minister of the state of the roads in the village of Woodford Hill. Madam Speaker, the state of the road in the village of Woodford Hill is extremely bad. I have written, we have complained, the village council have written, youth groups have written, Madam Speaker, but my God, no attention being paid to that. Madam Speaker, this is not fair to the people. This is not fair to the people. And I really would like to see, Madam Minister, that some attention be paid to the Woodford Hill Road. I'm asking, I'm begging that you pay some attention to the Woodford Hill Main Road. Okay? The Melville Sea Wall. I mean, this is not affecting the people of Wesley and Woodford Hill only, and Marigot. It's affecting all of Dominica. Madam Speaker, this thing is dangerous. It is dangerous, Madam Speaker, because the water comes over on the roads. When the water comes onto the road, Madam Speaker, what do we see? It brings stones with it, Madam Speaker. We have been seeing amounts allocated time after time, Madam Speaker, for this project. We are spending additional monies, but the amounts in the budget, Madam Speaker, is not being spent, and I can't understand why. The minister must at this stage. And we need to know how much of the budget, Madam Speaker, how much of the budget that was allocated for 2016-17 have been spent so that we could have spent that and crossed, because I'm certain that the allocation for the Melville seawall, not a dollar have been spent, Madam Speaker, and this project is needed, it is dangerous, and unless, we enter this mode, that unless something happens in Dominica, Madam Speaker, unless something happens,
Your time is up.
We are not making a move. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much for allowing me no more time.
That is
God
out
bless
of
you.
my province, eh? I caught the eye of the member at the back before I did see you. Are you willing to yield to him?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we must rejoice and be glad in it, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I truly feel blessed that He has given me life this day, and humbled to have the honor to address this honorable House in support of the supplementary appropriations now up for debate in this House of Parliament, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, and the first thing I would like to do is to extend commendations to the Honorable Prime Minister and Cabinet of this country for the exemplary and stellar leadership of this country and management of its economic resources, Madam Speaker. This must be commended, because I feel blessed as a young Dominican to be part of what I consider to be the most transformational period in the history of Dominica. As a young person growing up, I can say that in the past decade, the pace of development in this country has picked up, and Dominica is really moving fastly on track to the next level, Madam Speaker. We have adopted the principles of sustainable development, and we see them reflected in the government's focus on renewable energy, in the government's focus on building back better, and we can see, Madam Speaker, mostly through the harmonious approach that this government is taking to the development of this country. And I want to stress on this point, because there are Dominicans living in every nook and cranny of this blessed nation, over 42 communities. And this Dominica Labour Party administration is reaching out to the elderly, to the young, to those forming part of the labor force today to ensure that their needs are being met and that in their retirement there will be some form of security for them, Madam Speaker. So the form of development that we are seeing now in Dominica, thanks to this Dominica Labour Party administration, is not only brilliant, it is harmonious, Madam Speaker, touching the lives of all, because we are part of a party with the motto, all shall eat. Madam Speaker, when we look at the bill the supplementary appropriation before us, and we consider the amount allocated for the National Employment Program, well over $5 million, Madam Speaker. I really want to thank the Minister of Trade and Employment for placing it into focus. The key focus of this year's budget was to stimulate economic growth following the significant losses that we suffered during Tropical Storm Erica. Secondary to growth, we wanted to focus on employment, because we know that we are still just moving out of the recent global economic crisis. And employment is something that we must keep our eye on, we must address at every level of the demographic, Madam Speaker. And this National Employment Program, a brainchild of our Honorable Prime Minister, continues to create avenues in which our Dominicans across the country can be engaged, find meaningful employment by which they can provide for their families, Madam Speaker. And since the inception of this program, the opposition has sought to cast a dark shadow over it. They said it wouldn't ever last, because initially, when this program was started or introduced, it was designed to cater to 300 individuals. Yesterday, you have learned from the Minister of Employment that it now caters to well over 1,000 and even approaching 2,000 Dominicans, Madam Speaker. When you consider our population, that represents over 2% of the population, Madam Speaker. And of course, the workforce within the population of 70,000 is just 40,000. So you can understand what the National Employment Program is doing with respect to employment and unemployment in the country. Further to that, Madam Speaker, we know that it is very difficult for young people to find jobs in this job market because we don't have the experience. This NEP is so well designed as to give them an avenue by which they can gain that experience. Some of them may have taken student loans. In the meantime, Madam Speaker, whilst gaining that experience, they can also have some meaningful income which they can use to service their loans, Madam Speaker. It may not be them themselves that took the loan, it may be their parents. But they can play that part in the family, contribute to the family, and assist in the repayment of their loans through the NEP, Madam Speaker. The NEP also caters to entrepreneurs. As I look through the country, different communities, and even in the Roseau South, there are many young entrepreneurs who are seeing growth, potential for growth in their businesses, but they lack the human resources. And there again, Madam Speaker, the NEP is playing a very critical role in assisting them by providing the much-needed human resources so that they can increase the amount of customers they can service and increase the revenue coming to their business. So when this government allocates $5 million to the NEP, it's not just about giving money to people on a short-term basis. It's about giving people an opportunity to get job experience. It's about providing a livelihood for individuals who otherwise may not have had it, Madam Speaker. It's about touching the lives of Dominicans across this country. And I really want to commend the Prime Minister for introducing this program and his government for continuing it and making sure that it continues to expand its reach to even more Dominicans as time goes by. Madam Speaker, when we consider the supplementary appropriation, includes over $6 million spent on the public support program. And I want to place again on public record my support for this public support program, Madam Speaker, because it speaks and addresses the needs of Dominicans, especially with respect to health emergencies that arise at any given time. And what can you say to a family member when you're unable to assist? What can you say to an individual who needs to do a surgery and that money is not there? What are we going to say to them? Come back later? And when we come 2 weeks later, we find out that the situation has deteriorated so far that money is no longer a factor in the equation. Every Dominican life matters, Madam Speaker. And that's why I think this public support program is so critical, because it is in tune with the individual needs of each Dominican. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for making sure that this program can even go further, because you'll have heard his previous pronouncement that he will even decentralize the program. And as we speak, Madam Speaker, within the Roseau South constituency, there is such an office, a satellite office, if you will, of the public support program, catering to the needs of the people of the Roseau South and surrounding constituencies, to make sure that if the unfortunate situation were to arise, the government is there to play its part in making sure that Dominicans enjoy a good quality of life and their key concerns, their key critical needs can be addressed, Madam Speaker. So I support this program, and I want to see it continue to benefit Dominicans throughout the country. Now, Madam Speaker, the supplementary appropriation speaks to a very significant sum of financing. $150 million, over $150 million, Madam Speaker. And that's just less than 3 years after suffering losses in excess of $1 billion in our GDP, Madam Speaker. So it shows the level of resilience that we are developing as a country. And that is why I really want to commend the Prime Minister again for his prudent management of our financial resources. Because I'm sure if you check throughout the Caribbean, you will scarcely find a country that has been able to bounce back from such devastation in such little time. When we consider the supplementary appropriation, we see that almost $50 million was allocated towards the continuation, the management of our citizenship by investment program, Madam Speaker. And this point must be underscored. The opposition likes to bash our citizenship by investment program. In fact, the Honorable Leader for the Opposition has made it his work this year, from January 1st to present day, to continue to try to malign and scandalize our citizenship by investment program. Yet, Madam Speaker, we see that this government has been responsible in allocating some $50 million.
Point of order 44, Madam Speaker. The member is imputing improper motives. He must withdraw the statement.
What statement is?
Madam Speaker, the member has indicated that since January I've made it some words to the effect, point of duty, to destroy some program or the other. No. Madam Speaker, I am raising a point of order objection at section 44. The member is imputing improper motives. He knows what he said. I want him to withdraw the statement.
What
I
statement?
don't have a record in my head. But let him sit. He attacked the leader of the opposition personally for destroying the CBI program since January of this year. That is factually incorrect, Madam Speaker.
I do not recall stating words to the effect that the Honorable Leader of the Opposition just stated. What I did say, Madam Speaker, was that we can see the opposition has been from since January 1st on the course of trying to criticize our Citizenship by Investment Program, Madam Speaker. All right? That's basically what I said. They've been criticizing that, and we all know that is public fact, Madam Speaker. And everybody has a right to criticize, but they haven't been doing it constructively. No, I didn't even use those words, Madam Speaker.
It's okay. He can continue. Sorry.
Stop wasting the Honorable House's time, man. So, Madam Speaker, no interruption can distract us from the point that $50 million is a significant investment, and it should show to every Dominican that the resources we are raising through the Citizenship by Investment Program, they do not come by easily. They do not come by easily. In fact, we have to also reinvest into this program so it can continue to generate the revenue we need to build our roads, to build our homes, to provide for the sanitation program. And Madam Speaker, you would have recalled that when the Prime Minister in his brilliance brought a cadre of the most dynamic, hardworking, and nationally focused Dominicans on a mission to continue to promote the Citizenship by Investment Program, the opposition took a very ill view of it. And in fact, they tried to criticize the move by the Prime Minister to take a delegation to Dubai to promote the program. But Madam Speaker, we must promote the program if it is to continue to bring the resources we need. And Madam Speaker, when you consider the amount that was allocated for that trip, which was just some $250,000, and you put that against an investment of $50 million, Madam Speaker. There is no extravagance in that. There is no extravagance in that, Madam Speaker. This is a necessary investment, and we want to underscore that fact. Because as we speak, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry, the so-called economic strategists, the economic prodigy, the Honorable Senator Thompson Fontaine, is absent from this seating of this Honorable House because he is somewhere, as I've been reliably informed, in South Sudan, Mr. Speaker. Where is he to contribute to this debate? After all the negatives that they have put towards the Citizenship by Investment Program, Mr. Speaker. Okay? So it shows that they have no clue. They have no clue how to manage such a program because they don't know the steps required in managing it, in promoting it, in making sure there is adequate due diligence and investing in it. Not just taking money and spending money, but investing money back into the Citizenship by Investment Program. Just like the government is taking the money from that program, investing in the aid bank for agriculture, some $10 million, for tourism, some $15 million, for music, some $1 million. So it's about investment, not just about speaking about arbitrary figures of economic growth calling press conferences, Mr. Speaker. So the Citizenship by Investment Program, the investment that we have made is very substantive, and I want to commend the government for it. Moving on to our housing revolution and our sanitation program. And this is a program that touches my heart every time I think about it. Because where else would we find a leader that cares about that individual concern of access to a washroom? Where a leader can demonstrate that he understands the pressure that it puts on a family. When I walk through the communities of Egliston, and the fathers have to tell me the elderly fathers, how it pains them to see their wives still have to leave the house to use a pit latrine. And if that could be addressed, the joy it would bring to them. And when we could inform them that the Prime Minister had allocated some $220,000 to address the pit latrine need in Eglinton and Girodale, Mr. Speaker, the joy on that man's face says it all to me, that this is a positive program. And I want to commend the government of Dominica for allocating $8.6 million to ensure, once again, not in an ad hoc manner, not just looking on one set, as they are now today trying to give the impression that, when I say they, the opposition, is now trying to give the impression that this government is looking at colors. Mr. Speaker, nothing could be further from the truth, and this is a fundamental part of my contribution to this House today. Because when we consider the sanitation program, this is Roseau South we're talking about, $220,000 for Girodale Eglinton. And on top of that, some $462,000 for Kings Hill, Mr. Speaker. And in addition to that, they have the commitment that they're going to eradicate washrooms in every community in the Roseau South. So instead of doing like the honorable member for Roseau North, Daniel Uge, and writing letters, I've been on the ground with the local authorities and the citizens of Newtown and Fortney, finding and identifying the people that need these washrooms so that before the end of 2017, they can see themselves in a better state, Mr. Speaker. And again, this is harmonious, because this is taking place all over the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, health is wealth. Health is wealth. And through its pronouncements, through its investments, this government continues to demonstrate it understands. We can build roads, we can build bridges. If we do not cater to the health of Dominicans, then we are doomed to failure, Mr. Speaker. We have a small population. And so I really want to commend the Prime Minister for instituting the pilot health insurance program. Presently, it will meet the needs of mothers under the age of 35 and children under the age of 3. And it was really white noise to me to sit in this house, listening to the member for Wesley. It was like white noise to my ears, hearing him try to give a poor view of the investment that this government has made into the pilot health insurance program. Just 9 months, less than 9 months after making the commitment to establishing said program, Mr. Speaker. Because he couldn't see the benefit of the program. Just like they don't see many of the benefits of many of the investment that these governments make. But even the first beneficiary, he said that, we should take more time to make sure it is better, and all of these senseless excuses. But when you consider the first beneficiary of this program, a mother with a child born, unfortunately, without the vision, without sight, and the program was able to touch her life in the time that it needed to be, Mr. Speaker. And this is what this government is about. We're not going to say to people, sorry, we can't help you today. Give us another 2 weeks, let's think about that. Let's go all around the country, wasting people's time. This is a government that wants to address the needs and concerns of Dominicans in a timely manner, in a responsible manner, without watching any color, Mr. Speaker. Because when you consider the non-contributory pension allowance for everybody over 70, it doesn't matter who you voted when you were 40 or who you were 20, you will benefit from it. This is a harmonious program, Mr. Speaker. It doesn't matter who your parents support when you get in your school transfer grant. It doesn't matter who you support when you hop in a bus in the morning to go to get an education. This is a government that is facilitating harmonious development across this country, Mr. Speaker. And of course, as we said, this budget is focusing on growth, employment, and poverty reduction. And Mr. Speaker, the development of small business is fundamental to increasing employment and eradicating poverty. Young entrepreneurs have the most dynamic ideas. They have the drive. They are the ones that will inherit this economy. And so we want to build their skills from an early age. And I want to commend Honorable Justina Charles, our Minister of Youth, for going out there and championing the cause of our young entrepreneurs on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. As a member of the board of the DYBT, I can tell you the DYBT is always looking for avenues by which they can source capital. And Nurse Charles was there to ensure that she would mobilize $1 million towards the efforts of the DYBT so that we can provide security, much needed security for our entrepreneurs who want access to credit, Mr. Speaker. So it's not just one thing to talk about small business. Because you can see from the honorable member of Roseau North's contribution, he has no idea. How can you stand up in this honorable house and ask how many people are there in Penville? Give me a break, Mr. Speaker. It doesn't matter even if there is one person in Penville. We have to help them. Just like the Honorable Ostry does, Minister of Housing and Lands. It doesn't matter if you have one house in Scotshead. He will put your water tank there for you if you need it. Because it's harmonious development we're promoting, not watching colors as they're trying to give the impression, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another significant sum in the supplementary appropriation is focused on constituency empowerment, which takes the point of harmonious development even further and speaks to our contribution to democracy. Because in a democracy, everyone should participate. Everyone should be involved. And you have heard the Prime Minister on record as saying that our leaders need to take up leadership, not just at the highest levels, but at all levels, at the local authority, improvement committee, youth groups, etc. And through the Honorable Justina Charles, he has mobilized some $10 million to disseminate to our local authorities, of which we have 42. And you heard it yourself. Each constituency received an amount of $300,000, an equal share in that sense, Mr. Speaker. And Roseau South was no exception. So I want to use this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister Justina Charles and the Honorable Prime Minister and his cabinet for providing those resources. Because in the Roseau South, that helped us to really focus in Girodale, for example, on the much-needed St. Elmo's Road. Now, this is a road that the Girodale-Egliston Village Council has been seeking to mobilize resources for over a decade. And now, in a timely manner, with the support from the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment, we can see the first phase of the St. Elmo's Road. In Wallhouse, we can see that Watty Street has been constructed. As we know, Wallhouse and Castle Comfort in the Roseau South are developments that were private developments, and now their road network has deteriorated. The developers have since made their money and moved on. But this government will never move on from watching and looking after the concerns of people of Dominica. And so the government has stepped in and has, in a systematic way, been constructing the roads in Wallhouse, Castle Comfort, and many other private developments in the Roseau South. So I want to thank Honorable Justina Charles and the Prime Minister for that assistance and for ensuring that every constituency, in fact, benefited from this constituency empowerment resources, some $10.9 million, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the point of small business development, I always try to commend Honorable Rosalind Paul because her ministry has been very responsive to the needs of our entrepreneurs in the Roseau South. On a regular basis, individuals will call me, contact me to let me know that they have in fact received assistance from the Small Business Ministry. However, due to the volume of applications I'm sure they receive, it's not always possible to address everyone at once. And that's why, again, this government has taken the approach to decentralize the administration of this program. And we can see an allocation of over $5 million has been made to address the needs of small businesses throughout this country, Mr. Speaker. And this is necessary, again, to help to improve the economic and employment situation here in Dominica. So, contrary to what, again, the Roseau North member, honorable member from Roseau North was trying to say, there have been commitments in opposition-held constituencies with respect to small business development. In Louvier, the Prime Minister sat and met with over 50 young people, together with members of the village council. I myself was there present, okay, and gave them commitments to address their small business needs. And that is a process that is ongoing. Just recently, the Prime Minister also met with the youth of Newtown, turning out in large numbers, and gave them a commitment of some $500,000 towards their small business development, just for Newtown, Mr. Speaker. Okay, in the Roseau South, an opposition-held constituency. Just recently at the town hall meeting, now this is not a secret, this is public knowledge, town hall meeting in the Roseau North constituency. And the Prime Minister made the announcement that he'll provide a significant amount of resources, if I recall correctly, $500,000 for small businesses in the Roseau North. So for a member of this House to stand up today and claim that there's nothing on the cards for people in the Roseau North with respect to small business is grossly unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. And it indicates there's some level of dishonesty, because the truth is right there for everybody to see, for everybody to hear. Why would you stand up and make such a statement? So, Mr. Speaker, when I look at this supplementary appropriation, I see that it addresses the key concerns of Dominicans across the country. I see it speaks to the motto of the Dominica Labour Party, which is all shall eat, Mr. Speaker, ensuring the most harmonious model of development that I have seen in this Caribbean, and it makes me feel proud as a young Dominican to be a part of this party and a part of this process of taking Dominica to the next level. So I just want to commend the Honorable Prime Minister for his hard work, commend the members of Cabinet for their hard work and resourcefulness, and pledge my support to continue to promote the positive message of the Dominica Labour Party government. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to give full support of the supplementary appropriation. Under the heading of the Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal, there was an amount of $720,000. This amount represents the contributions towards the Dominica Festivals Committee for the hosting of Carnival 2017. I dare say that Carnival 2017 was one of our best carnivals so far, whereby the government used those funds to ensure that the various activities were held at a much higher level. A lot more was done with regards to the marketing of Carnival 2017, and as a result, we saw a lot more individuals coming to Dominica. There were some major changes that were done with regards to supporting the various village groups in Granby, St. Joseph, Maho, the Kalinago territory, and Portsmouth. And we also encouraged them to participate, and we saw much more participation in Dominica. We also used the bayfront as an avenue for individuals to participate in Carnival. And this was to reduce the safety issues that were held in a very small road high up. But in addition to that, what this really caused, it caused Dominica to be portrayed in a much better manner, where we had much more beautiful images of Dominica whilst persons took part in the carnival activities on the bayfront. You had the beautiful sea, you had the beautiful mountains, and a very wide road where persons could truly enjoy themselves. As a result of that, much awareness was created in a positive way for all persons in Dominica and around Dominica, promoting our wonderful carnival. I want to also thank all the different organizations who took part and made sure it was possible. With regards to the other amount of $590,000, this was used to pay for the traffic study which was conducted to ensure that the Roseau enhancement project would be properly done. This traffic study would explain the traffic flows, the different size roads, and what would create the best possible efficiency as the Roseau enhancement plan is put in place. I want to assure the citizens of Dominica that soon a new round of stakeholder consultations will be held so that all persons can give their final inputs on the designs for the Roseau enhancement project. Under the National Employment Program, many persons continue to bash this program, but this is an amazing program. We all know that any individual who leaves school, and nowadays, especially with better access to the Dominica State College, we have significant amount of individuals who are leaving the school and coming into the work environment. And unfortunately, many employers ask them, what experience do you have? And this is where the National Employment Program comes into play. It allows these individuals to be placed in organizations to gain the skills and knowledge that they require to be ready for the job market. However, not all of us are lucky to have gone to school. Sometimes we face certain challenges and we're unable to attend school, or we're unable to complete school. And there's the Apprenticeship Program, which allows these individuals to improve on their skills, to learn a trade so that they can be ready for the job market. But this program also helps companies that are looking to expand on their business, companies that are looking to start up. It allows these companies to employ individuals and not have to pay for them. And if these companies run their businesses properly, over a period of time, they contribute to the salaries that are paid, and over a period of time, they absorb these individuals into their companies. And as the Honorable Minister for for Trade stated over 2,000 persons are employed under the National Employment Program, obviously creating significant economic activity. And you see it nowadays, even on the weekends and on Fridays, you see significant amounts of persons all around the city spending money, which helps the local economy. Under the Public Support Program, in life, many of us, we do an excellent job in terms of going to school, having great jobs, and if we have the financial intelligence, we ensure that we have insurance in place, we ensure that we have our pension plans in place, we ensure that we have our life insurance programs, policies in place. But not all of us are going to do these things, and from time to time we fall upon hard times. Therefore, when we have these hard times, who is going to support us? Who are we going to depend on? Are we going to depend on our family members over and over? And that is where, as a caring government, we have the Public Support Program, which allows individuals who are going through a hard time or who do not have the means like everybody else to be able to fall on a support program to help each other. We must be our brother's keepers. And in addition to that, it has always been said that we need to decentralize this program. Everybody cannot come to one particular area. However, although we've listened to the individuals, we've listened to the public, and we've now begun to decentralize that, we still get a lot of flack as a result of that. But again, the government of Dominica is committed and will continue listening to our people and providing the best avenues for their livelihoods. In terms of vagrancy, we see that an amount was there for the vagrancy program, and I'm happy for that, so that we look forward to the acute psychiatric unit to ensure that they speed up the process and put things in place so that the vagrants on the street can be taken care of, but we too have to do our part. All of these vagrants are our family members, so we too have to take care of them. We too have to work in the acute psychiatric unit so that we can provide the best service and care for them. Mr. Speaker, under the Citizen by Investment Program, we're all aware as to why this program is in place. And by now, we're all aware of all of the systems that are in place to ensure it is a safe and secure program. But however, you'll hear many persons say, why are we spending so much money to pay CS Global for the work that they've done? And even complain that the Prime Minister has traveled too much sometimes to promote this project. But we're all aware, without the CBI program, it means we would have to either raise taxes, we'd either have to take larger loans, or we'd need to be dependent on other nations for grants. But as you can see, based on the submissions by the Financial Secretary, based on the strategy of going out into the international market and promoting our program, by traveling on a regular basis to promote this program, by ensuring that we have the right set of persons to market this program, our sale of citizenships have significantly increased, which allows for all of these projects that we are talking about today to be able to be financed. So 99% of all of these supplementary expenses are being financed by the government using some of the proceeds of the Citizen by Investment Program. Under the small business grants, I mean, many persons who want to be entrepreneurs today have the opportunity to start a business. Starting a small business allows you to create employment for yourself, and it allows you to create employment for others, therefore helping to reduce the unemployment rate. And we know how important small business is. And as has been said, significant sums have been spent to support the small business programs. But you listen to some members of the opposition, and they clearly give you the impression, especially that in the areas of Roseau North, Roseau South, that nothing is being done. But this is clearly a manifestation that these representatives are not in touch with their people. This clearly shows that their people have no confidence in them. Because if they had confidence in them, if they were speaking to them, they would have known that many of them have gotten assistance through the small business program. Just for the last quarter, for Roseau North, over $109,000 has been spent to individuals from Roseau North. In terms of Roseau North, $112,000. Roseau South, over $109,000. and Roseau Central $54,000. So clearly, they are not in touch with their people. But at the same time, at the last town hall meeting in the Roseau Central area, over $500,000 was earmarked or committed towards the residents of Roseau Central. And when we had that meeting, many persons came to that meeting. We were actually overwhelmed on the number of persons who were seeking support. We had over 250 persons who came to that meeting and listened to what the small business staff had to say. And over 200 applications have been received by the small business unit to process them properly and to make recommendations for the disbursement of the funds. I can say to you, as a person who cares about the residents of Roseau Central, that the amount requested by persons of Roseau Central is in excess of $1.1 million. And I have gone to the Honorable Prime Minister, and I have requested that we need to increase the amount of $500,000 to a much higher amount to ensure that as many persons from the Roseau Central are assisted in terms of upgrading their businesses and to be able to start. We've also, as a person who also cares about the residents of Roseau Central, I have also ensured that I have a small mentor group that will assist those persons after they've received funds to ensure that we make their businesses as sustainable as possible. And you can well imagine those funds that are going to be dispersed, the bulk of those funds actually impact on all of the other businesses, because maybe over 80% of those funds are to buy things within Dominica. So by assisting the small businesses, the medium-sized businesses benefit, and also the larger businesses benefit. On the Constituency Empowerment, as you're well aware, again, it was said that no help, no assistance is being given to areas where the incumbent... but obviously, again, it shows that it is totally incorrect. So for Roseau Central, we know we have funds, $300,000 allocated. And in speaking to the people of Roseau Central, the important thing, you can't do the entire of Roseau Central at one time. We've spoken to the persons who have the most need, and we have $146,000 allocated for washrooms in the various areas in Roseau Central that don't have the washrooms. And the intention is to ensure that we have the contractors who will get that done within a very short period of time. We've also upgraded the basketball court in Bath Estate, Bath Road, by putting new lighting. The lighting that was there was inadequate and had to be totally rechanged. And also, many of you would have seen the old rundown washroom. So we finally have the funds to completely demolish that old washroom facility and put a new washroom facility. And this washroom facility will not only impact on the residents of the area, but even the visitors who are coming to the botanical gardens, they will have an alternative site to do that. And we must prepare. The Ministry of Tourism has been working very hard to ensure that we attract as many persons to our beautiful shores. And for the next season, we have 100,000 more visitors coming on the cruise ships to Dominica, contrary to what other persons say, that tourism is not moving forward. So we have to plan and we have to move forward. So again, I stand to support the supplementary appropriation. I thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I too rise to make my brief contribution towards the bill before the House, which is the supplementary appropriation July 2006 to April 2007. Mr. Speaker, but before I begin, I really would like to make a few general comments, and before I go into a few specifics, especially as it pertains to the portfolio under my jurisdiction as the Ministry of Health and the Environment. Mr. Speaker, it really amazes me that some members of the Parliament, especially of the opposition, who've been in the Parliament, for well over 5 years. Some of them, they would have been senators before, and the people made a mistake and elected two of them. that they come to the House, Madam Speaker, to discuss a supplementary appropriation, a supplementary estimate, and be talking about grant funding, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, most of the grant funding would have been captured on the what they call the annual budget estimates. This is a supplementary appropriation, supplementary, meaning that needs that arose, Madam Speaker. And then thank God, and what they should be saying, Mr. Speaker, is that thank God there was a source of funding called the CBI to take care of these needs that arose outside of the normal annual, or the usual rather, annual budget. So to come here and to try to ridicule and to try to make a point that no grant funding there, 1%, and what is wrong with our friend, Madam Speaker, they should be congratulating the government that right now you guys no longer have to depend on your friends. You can now raise funds on your own to finance this, Mr. Speaker. So it really amazes me. It never really ceases. It never ceases to amaze me, Mr. Speaker, some of the cheap political points the guys come out of the thing. They need to do their research properly and get their act together. But that being said, Mr. Speaker, as I said before, I just need to touch on a few of the heads, especially within the Ministry of Health and Environment. And I will touch on them what, again, talked about by one of the members on the other side, the $5 million that was given to the Ministry of Health to capitalize the National Health Insurance Pilot Project. And again, I mean, I think the gentleman, the member for Wesley, I think he's in the insurance business. And if you're making a case for us to give you business, your business, say that, okay? But you cannot tell me, Mr. Speaker, that if you, he's in it. So, but Mr. Speaker, you cannot tell me, Mr. Speaker, that a small island economy like Dominica, while other mature economies, developed countries, decades they've been talking about establishing national health insurance programs. Just look at the difficulty that President Obama had with Obamacare in the great United States of America. And a small island economy like ours, we took the guts, Mr. Speaker, sorry, after decades of talking, after decades of documents. I mean, when I took over the reins as the Minister of Health, Mr. Speaker, I mean, I can go to maybe a whole shelf dedicated to literature on studies about national health insurance and universal health coverage. It had to take this Labour Party, this visionary Labour Party administration, to actually implement a pilot program, Madam Speaker, and we need to be commended for that. And Mr. Speaker, again, the member tried to mislead the listeners and, of course, this honorable House. That is something that we just woke up one morning and decided, let's put $5 million into this, Mr. Speaker. It's nothing further from the truth. This is a program, this is a pilot program that has been discussed, as I said, over decades. And you heard the praises, Madam Speaker, that this administration got, not from Dominicans, not from paid Labour Party operatives, not from anybody supporting the Labour Party, from people from the outside, PAHO, and other organizations, praising this government for the initiative in getting the guts to actually initiate a pilot program, health insurance program in Dominica. And again, Mr. Speaker, we heard the member talking about taking 5% or whatever from VAT to fund this. But man, we already have the funds for this under the CBI program. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, on parliamentary language. I don't want to get into any trouble with the Parliament of Dominica. We already have the funding for it under the CBI. We're telling you we have the $5 million to spend it, to capitalize this pilot program. You're talking about going to take 1% or 0.5% on the VAT. You with me, Mr. Speaker? So all of this is just ridiculous. And as I said, this government needs to be commended for having the guts, having the courage, having the vision. And this is what it is, a pilot program. So what a pilot program means is that, listen, we're going to start it, enough talk, let us get this thing on the road. As we go along, of course, we identify the most susceptible group, or rather what we would advise would be one of the most vulnerable groups, rather, of people needing health care, which would be single mothers, below 35, and children under 3 years of age. We're going to use them as a pilot, and as time progresses, we will incrementally add people or the vulnerable groups until each and every Dominican is captured under a national health insurance program. So this is what we call a pilot. Yes, there's work to be done. We'll have to do a little tweak in here, a little tweak in there, until we have what they call the national health insurance program or universal health coverage. Because with all the investment that we're doing in health and the $40 million US, 108 million EC dollar, rather, new national hospital that we are now constructing, and with all the new equipment and other new services, new doctors that we are training, all of this would be almost futile if the average Dominican cannot access it, Mr. Speaker. And this is what this Labour Party administration is all about, Mr. Speaker. It's not about, yes, we are about building infrastructure, building bridges and repairing village roads, etc., but we're also about people and helping, making sure that the less fortunate, the marginalized in society, they are also captured and they also reap part of the country's success. So again, as I've said a number of times before at a number of public fora, at town hall meetings, we, this Labour Party administration, we make no apologies for assisting our people. And a number of speakers before me spoke to it. We don't ask people at the call their political inclinations when they seek the assistance of the government. We reach out to people who are in need. So we have $5 million, as I said, towards capitalizing this National Health Insurance pilot program. And from all reports, things are progressing smoothly. So of course, as I said, it being a pilot, we would have to do some readjusting here until everybody is captured. We would have also seen a couple sums of $200,000 each to meet government's own contribution towards a national hospital. One of these would be to fund what we call the project management unit, because understanding the complexities involved in building a new hospital on an existing site, this government would have put in place what they call a project management unit to ensure that the day-to-day operation, the day-to-day construction of the hospital is going along smoothly. So this $200,000 would be to, first of all, start off this unit, and a further $200,000 towards meeting the salaries, emoluments, etc. of this unit. And I want to report to the people of Dominica that this project management is doing a fantastic job in reporting back to the government the progress of the new hospital. And those of you Dominicans who have not gone to the PMH recently, I'm suggesting that you go up there and take a walk and pick. Don't go on the construction site, people. You can pick through the galvanized fencing to see the awesome work that is going on the new National Hospital. A hospital that they said would never start. They said it was an election gimmick. They said it was a political gimmick. But as I said, it's a calypsos. I mean, this thing got so much attention that calypsos are written about the hospital. They call it hospitals in the sky, etc. And as I said before, the hospital has landed, the one in the sky. And from their silence, a couple toes are hurting, Mr. Speaker, where the hospital landed on a couple of them toes. So, in the Ministry of Health, we also saw other expenditure. For example, towards the medical board, the Dominica Medical Board, which has been in operation, which is a legal entity responsible for dealing with a lot of legal matters as it pertains to the practice of medicine here in Dominica. The government have since made a contribution towards the regularization of this Dominican Medical Board. Because, and prior to that, it would have been at the mercies of some generous contributions from stakeholders. But right now, we think that we are now as a mature country, mature economy, that we now take control of our medical board. So moving on, Mr. Speaker, we also saw some of $100,000 also being given to the Dominica Cancer Society, again to subsidize. Again, this is again as a result of the generous nature of this administration, reaching out to the people, because we know the prevalence of cancer here in Dominica, Mr. Speaker. And then we're doing our best to ensure that these patients, that they receive the treatment that they need. And again, with the advent of the new hospital and with the training of new doctors and new equipment, all of this, the need to travel for such treatment, cancer treatment, and other ailments, Mr. Speaker, is going to be less and less. Plus, with the advent of the new medical insurance, then we are hoping that less and less people will have the need to travel overseas for medical treatment. Moving along, Mr. Speaker, under the Constituency Empowerment, we saw two major allocations, one of $3.94 million and another of almost $11 million towards community-based projects and community roads. And again, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure somebody after me by then would have gotten the information, the data. When we hear the opposition parliamentarians speaking that money is not being spent in their constituencies or in their communities, I had the pleasure, the privilege, the pleasure to be a guest of Mr. Nichols Esprit's town hall meeting, what they call it, de facto pal rep of Sulby, the real pal rep of the caretaker. Well, I call it the real pal rep, quote unquote, real pal rep of the Salisbury constituency. I had the pleasure and privilege of being his guest at the town hall meeting in Montrachet. And when the figures were presented, Mr. Speaker, as to the millions of dollars that are being spent in the Salisbury-Montrachet community, water projects, feeder roads under the BAM project, feeder road probably worth, if I recall, $11 or $12 million in the Salisbury constituency. A BNTF water project in Montrachet, which is a community being held, for want of a better term, by the opposition. Under the DVRP, another two storage tracks are going to be built within that constituency, and the Member of Parliament, the one occupying the seat, he had the pleasure to attend the signing ceremony of the contract at the Ministry of Health when this was done. Okay, so to come here and say that no money is being spent in the communities being held, for want of a better term, you make it sound like a military thing, but it's not, for want of a better term, Mr. Speaker, held by the opposition, okay, it's just really ridiculous, it's just really ludicrous, okay? And then the opposition members, Mr. Speaker, they need to do their research. Instead of being all out there running their mouths and casting out aspirations, go and get, these things are written, these things are documented in black and white, in the Hansard, in the estimates, they are there for those who can read to read. So before they come here and just make statements, in fact, the member for Roseau didn't know that Salisbury received money for, I think, Carnival it was, and the member of Parliament had to pull his pants, Mr. Speaker, pull his pants, we don't tell him, no, boss, we get something, sit down, we Salisbury not in that. You with me? So they need to understand, Mr. Speaker, they need to do their work, they need to do their research before they come to this honorable house and try to mislead Dominicans. Because most of us Dominicans, and these days you don't even have to go to the library or come to the House of Parliament, you could go right on your smartphone, okay, and then go to the website and then pull up all the documentation where all these things are recorded. So under the Constituency Empowerment Ministry, Mr. Speaker, 11 and 4, $15 million being spent in this period towards community-based projects and community roads. And we would have successfully launched and been implemented, because we have said that by the end of this calendar year, 2017, that we want all community roads in the island to be rehabilitated. And all of this is made possible through funds under the Citizenship by Investment Program. Because without this, Mr. Speaker, let's be reasonable, let's be honest, especially post-tropical America, which left us $1.4 billion in debt. $1.4 billion, and I say where I go, billion is the one with the B, the one with the 9 zeros, not the one with the 6 zeros, the one with the 9 zeros, $1.4 billion. Where else, Mr. Speaker, on the other circumstances, would be asking Dominicans to make sacrifices to raise these funds to build back Dominica. And even further, we even go in a bit further. We even investing in new programs, rehabilitation of community roads, the washroom program. We are taking on more and more programs. Instead of after Erica, where we could have come to Dominica and say, listen, civil servants, when you take a 25% cut, or not once, Mr. Speaker, have we go to the public service and ask them for a cut. And they've been receiving their salary on time. On time. So in other words, nothing has changed. And all of this is made possible through the CBI program, which they are trying their best to destroy. But I have said before, and I make no apologies for it, that this Labour Party administration is guided by God. And one of the reasons that we are guided by God is because we give a lot. And then I think Honorable Ian Douglas, if he can quote the scripture better than me, that says that God loves a cheerful giver. And we are giving back to the people who entrusted us with the leadership. So we will always in turn be blessed by the Almighty. And we say, thank God that there is this source of funding, Mr. Speaker, that we can continue to use to build back our communities. As we speak, in a small community of Belleville-Chopin, apart from the $100+ million, again under the CBI program, resettlement of PD7, where we're going to create a modern suburban community in Belleville-Chopin to relocate the PD7 people. As we speak, we have 3 community roads, totaling over $800,000 being done inside the existing Belleville-Chopin community. Mr. Speaker, where else in the history of Dominica would you have heard of such 3 roads being done at once in a small community of about maybe 500 people? And all of this is thanks, as I said, to proceeds from the CBI. So I want to continue to ask Dominicans that have done many times before to pray for this government, to pray that the CBI program continues to flourish, to pray to thwart the efforts and the plans of the opposition who want to, for a few minutes of fame, to go international on TV, whatever the case may be, to try to thwart the program that is bringing so much benefit to the everyday Dominican public. So under this $15 million, I can probably say that the 57 constituency alone would have received maybe over $3 million in terms of projects, roads, washrooms, etc. within the twin communities area of Bagatelle and Fossé alone, we would have spent over $2 million from December of last year to present in constructing 25 washrooms and a number of community roads and replacing a few bridges that would have been destroyed by Tropical America. And we're not going to end there. And the Member of Parliament for Wesley, he spoke about how if our friends have deserted us. No, Mr. Speaker, because I'm sure if he had gone back to the estimates of last year, he would have seen that the British government would have committed 30 million pounds, 30 million pounds, which is more than another 100 million EC dollars towards the rehabilitation of the road from Loubier all the way back to Bagatelle to do river defense walls and slope stabilization and replacing of culverts and all of this, and in fact the road surface, everything, 30 million pounds. And again, Cabinet has already approved the amounts. I think it's part of this estimate for the consultancy. I'm sure the Minister of Public Works can speak more to it, the consultancy to do the pre-studies, and we're hoping that by the beginning or middle of next year, I'm very optimistic that by next year that we'll see actual work starting towards this rehabilitation effort of the road from Loubier all the way back to Bagatelle. So when you're talking about our friends and our friends abandoning us, okay, as I said before, I'll tell you this is just a supplementary, and we're glad that these funds existed, local funds, Government of Dominica, CBI, call it what you want, the same thing, sorry. Call it what you want, that these funds are there were there to fund it. So, Mr. Speaker, as I said, I was going to be very brief. I can speak to the sum of $3.1 million that would have been allocated to the Ministry of Lands and Housing, and in particular towards a water and sanitation project. Madam Speaker, sorry, before I end, I think it would be remiss of me if I, as a medical doctor, don't lend my support, as I've done billions of times before, the one even 9 zeros, billions of times before, towards this very, very good initiative by the Honorable Prime Minister. Madam Speaker, those of them who claim on the other side to be so brilliant and so well researched, okay, if they go to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 6 speaks to water and sanitation. And with Honorable Austri, the Minister of Lands and Housing and Water Resource and plenty other things, thrust and his hard work towards making thrust, Madam Speaker, I think it is a word, sorry. And his hard work, Madam Speaker, prior to Tropical America, we were almost 90-something%, Madam Speaker, coverage of potable water, if I said it correctly, Madam Speaker, potable water to Dominicans, 90-something%. Of course, Madam Speaker, Tropical America did a number of water systems, and in a way it was a blessing in disguise, because some of these water systems would have been decades old, and which is right now we're in the process of making them climate resilient, etc., repairing and making them climate resilient. But 90-something%. So that coupled with our very aggressive washroom program, one that they laughed at, Madam Speaker. But we heard the testimony of a number of parliamentarians. And if they be in fear, the members of the opposition would walk around their constituencies and seek out the people who have been assisted and get the testimonies to, and come to this house and say, yes, at the beginning we laughed at it because when we hear washroom, we think it was a joke. Okay, but now we can see for ourselves the benefits of such a program. Apart from the dignity, Madam Speaker, and the increased standard of living for somebody not having to leave their home in the middle of the night, on the rain, whatever, to go to a pit toilet, the whole issue of hygiene, Madam Speaker, and the health rewards of such a program. Okay, we cannot even put a dollar value to this. So, Madam Speaker, I said I was going to be very brief, and with these few words, I want to say that I wholeheartedly and fully support the schedule, okay, the bill before the House of Supplementary Appropriations, July 2016 to April 2007, and long live this Labour Party administration, long live the CBI, and long live the leadership of Roosevelt Skerrit. Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support this measure before this Honourable House. I want to give this Honourable House the assurance that I'm going to be very, 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 very short, Madam Speaker. I listened to the Honourable Prime Minister's presentation and thereafter the Honourable Member for Portsmouth. And I think all the elements were covered. But, Madam Speaker, I listened to, in particular, to the member for Wesley. And also, if you permit me, Madam Speaker, having read an article on his Sun newspaper I have said to myself that I must say a few words. Madam Speaker, when you're growing up, when somebody wears glasses, spectacles, you said that that person was a very bright person. Very bright. And then if you wanted to impress a girl, you dress nice and you just put something looking at glasses in your face. You can get my point. And that impacted my psyche. But when I was going to school in Canada, being a police officer at the time, after 10 years, you were entitled for free spectacles. So I went to the eye doctor, Madam Speaker, don't laugh now, please. And I said, I want a pair of spectacles. Because I want to look smart. Going to university is one thing, but you have to look smart too. Yes, but I forgot I had to do an eye test. So I was disappointed at the conclusion of the eye test, and I was told I have 20/20 vision in both eyes. They say I have big eyes, all I need is some eyes drop now and again. So when I saw the member for Wesley stood up, and then he put his right hand into his pocket and removed his pair of spectacles. And having removed them, put them on to his nose to cover his both eyes. Madam Speaker, I said that he was very serious this morning and very smart. But when I listened to him, Madam Speaker, I said, best he had not put on the pair of spectacles. Because he said, Madam Speaker, that demonstrated on the part of the Prime Minister, who was also the Minister for Finance, poor management of the finances of the state, Madam Speaker. Now, if you permit me, which is the same narrative coming from this newspaper, and it says, midway through the government's term, some observers give it an A+, others offers an F. Madam Speaker, I listened to all the speakers before me, and I want to say to you, I want to use that as a barometer to measure the competence and the ability of the Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of Finance, to manage the finances of the state. I want to declare to this honorable House that anybody who have examined all those interventions there from a value-free perspective, doesn't matter how hard the examiner grades, must give the Honorable Prime Minister an A+ grade for his performance. Why do I say that? The member for Wesley, with his glasses on, did not see, Madam Speaker, and attributed the credit to the Prime Minister and the Dominica Labour Party administration. That notwithstanding all the geopolitical challenges of the world, which has caused our traditional friends tremendous hardship, and as a consequence, Madam Speaker, cannot give us the grant they used to give us before, that we have been able to come here to this honorable House by way of supplementary $155 million, all from local funds, zero loan, Madam Speaker, zero loan, Madam Speaker. They did not say that, Madam Speaker. Notwithstanding the attack on the CBI program, Madam Speaker, every item there, less 1%, was funded under the CBI program, Madam Speaker. That is an A+, cannot be an F, Madam Speaker. Cannot be an F. And when the greatest economy in the world, Madam Speaker, is challenged, they cannot come to any agreement in Congress on a health care bill, Madam Speaker, for the most vulnerable in the mix. We have been able by way of a pilot program. Pilot program. Member of Parliament for Wesley. Pilot program, Madam Speaker. There is something else to come that's going to be bigger. Okay? Almost like a study, a case study, Madam Speaker. Okay? And then we're saying that the most vulnerable in our mix, the single mother with a 3-year-old child or under, that a special program is being put in place, a pilot health insurance program. And when we have been able, at no cost to the taxpayer, to make available $5 million to capitalize that program, that's an A+. Cannot be an F, Madam Speaker. Cannot be an F, unless the F stands for fantastic, Madam Speaker. You see? No, Madam Speaker. The member for Peter Savan, my very, very good friend. Yes. Serious man. Made reference to this washroom program, toilet and washroom program. $2 million being made available for that program under the CBI at no cost to the taxpayers. That is an A+, not an F, Madam Speaker. Not an F, Madam Speaker. And the list continues, and it continues, and it continues. Let's get it straight. I want to say something. I want to say something further, Madam Speaker. Further. Now, the member for Marigot, Wesley, said he would give the Prime Minister 0% for managing the economy, for making available just over $5 million for small business enterprise development, geared towards grassroots enterprise development at the community level. Madam Speaker, that cannot be an F, but an A+ in terms of grading, Madam Speaker. A number of young folks, a number of young persons have been able to create enterprise for themselves and create employment for themselves and others. Just come some last year, I have a case in point in my constituency. A young man was assisted to buy a particular tool, machine, Madam Speaker, as a mechanic. He now employs 3 additional persons. That's an A+. That cannot be an F. And when they highlighted the fact that we now have a program funded fully under the CBI, targeting road development at the community level. And what they did not say on the other side, that the 21 constituencies in Dominica were all impacted, Madam Speaker. That's an A+. It cannot be an F. But I leave that there, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, over $2 million have been made available to the Ministry of Justice, Immigration and National Security. I pause as the Prime Minister enters. And I'm going to try my best to be very tempered here and measured here, Madam Speaker. $886,000 being made available for the procurement of vehicles for the police force. Madam Speaker, no other Prime Minister, no other administration has done more for the Dominica Police Force than the Dominica Labour Party, Madam Speaker. And among the stations benefiting from that procurement, Madam Speaker, was the Marigot Police Station, Madam Speaker. at this point, permit me to commend the police officers who showed up for work yesterday, Madam Speaker. And I want to say to them that they have made us, Dominican, and the rest of the world, proud, Madam Speaker. I said before, and I take it very seriously, Madam Speaker, at a very young age, I served as a police officer, that the majority of police officers understand and appreciate the full extent of the oath they have taken to serve this wonderful country. And the majority of the police officers in this beautiful country, Madam Speaker, know that the Dominican Labour Party, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, has done well for the Dominican Police Force. As the Minister with responsibility for labor, I have not been advised by the Labour Commissioner that negotiation between the government negotiating team and the police is at has experienced any breakdown, Madam Speaker. The question is, the 56 police officers who reported sick yesterday, Madam Speaker, what was the reason? And I will say further, Madam Speaker, permit me. I am tied up to the fact that the government continues to provide for the police to ensure that the police carries out its work efficiently and well. And I want to read to this honorable House the oath taken by every potential police recruit. And it says, I do swear that I will truly serve the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force as a member. Sorry, Madam Speaker. I do swear that I will truly serve the Commonwealth of Dominica as a member of the Dominica Police Force without favor or affection, malice or ill will, and that I will, Madam Speaker, cause the public peace to be preserved, and that I will prevent to the utmost of my power offenses against same, and that during any time that I do or may thereafter hold any appointment in the Dominica Police Force, I will, to the best of my knowledge and skill, discharge all the duties thereof faithfully according to law, so help me God. That is the oath that every police officer has taken. Nowhere in this oath has said that I will serve the Dominican Labour Party or the United Workers' Party. A police officer serves the people of Dominica, the country of Dominica. And when we go to bed, we have to have the assurance that the police have our backs, Madam Speaker, and that's the bottom line, Madam Speaker. And any attempt, therefore, that can be construed as an attempt to buy into the rhetoric of any political party cannot be serving the best interests of the people of this beautiful country, Madam Speaker. I want to say that. Going back, Madam Speaker, $1.5 million being made available to the fire department to ensure that we adhere to our international obligation insofar as civil aviation is concerned. Those fire appliances, Madam Speaker, are very expensive. $1.5 million under the CBI program. And at the prisons, and I want to commend, with your permission, Madam Speaker, the prison management team, along with the Ministry of Social Services and the Ministry of Education, for facilitating a program whereby 14 inmates wrote the CXC examination at the English level, Madam Speaker. Because throughout my professional studies, every halfway house I went to in Canada, or prison setting, every study will show that at least 30% of any prison population, those persons are not hardcore criminals. So therefore, we have to place more emphasis on correction and rehabilitation. We have to also ensure, Madam Speaker, because we are making money, providing money in this measure, Madam Speaker, to improve on the security block. Because prisoners have their rights too. And in 2017, we have to ensure that the prison setting is at least humane. That is what we're doing. That's an A+, that cannot be an F, Madam Speaker. And to say further, that as we speak, monies have been made available for a buffer zone within the prison system to ensure that persons do not stay outside the prison zone and throw in drugs, etc., etc., etc. And going forward, we have started the process of negotiation with the State College so that we can develop modules in vocational skills so that the young men, having left the prison setting, would have gotten a skill to help them to make a contribution towards mainstream society. That is what we're all about, Madam Speaker. And in closing, Madam Speaker, permit me to thank the Cabinet and the Prime Minister for making monies available for the Mao constituency. I do not want to go into absolute details. You heard the Prime Minister when I actually made this presentation. But I want to ensure the people of the Mao constituency, because $1.4 million was made available for a number of road interventions. And that does not include, Madam Speaker, the $900,000 that have been approved for the river wall at Canefield housing scheme. It does not include, and I want to say thank you to the Minister for Housing, the $396,000 that has been spent in Jimmet to build storm drains. The quantum of the drain in terms of measurement, 1,600 feet, Madam Speaker. That doesn't include, Madam Speaker, the work that we have done in the river dredging, etc., etc. And that doesn't include, Madam Speaker, the work that we have done in Mount Georgian. And to say finally, Madam Speaker, that I'm happy, up to this morning, after 6, I went to this area, that we are spending $321,000 to improve the road network leading to the Campbell village. That we are spending $348,000 in Viewpoint in Wana. That we are spending $287,000 because very soon from now, we shall be starting the other phase of the road linking the Petrocaribe area to Jimmet and the Wana section, Madam Speaker. That doesn't include the money we have spent in former Jimasa. We just finished a road section there. So I want to say thank you to the Prime Minister and my cabinet colleagues in that regard. Yes, on Monday, we had a meeting with the young men of Canefield, a huge crowd, very huge crowd, and we're going to help them too. And I make no apologies for the assistance that have been given to us in Campbell. The Prime Minister has always used his good self and good office to facilitate persons who want help, with help. I'm one person who believes in helping people to walk. And I'm one person who believes, as I've said to my colleagues in Canefield, that there has to be a process whereby you can have re-evaluation of the program to ensure that the money was put into the intended use, Madam Speaker. Persons have to be helped to walk and to work for themselves, Madam Speaker. And that's what we're doing. So we have actually a balance of $250,000 for the people of Campbell. And the list goes on, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I support this measure. And I realized as I was speaking, the other members were running to come back inside. But the summons is over, Madam Speaker. And to say to my good friend, not my good friend anymore, not my good friend anymore, because it seems that they say, men wet, men poil. It appears so. Should I translate? I think they say, the same animal with the same hairs or furs, I don't know what it is. It's furs, right? Yeah. So, Madam Speaker, this article, which says that an A+, and some say an F to the Prime Minister, I want to say that in every aspect of his performance, and as demonstrated in this supplementary estimate, a record of $155 million, 0% loan, 1% grant, 99% local funding under the CBI, should be used as a major barometer to measure the competence and the leadership of the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker. And I want, in concluding, to agree with the first segment of that grade and say that I, Reuben Blackman, well, I'm not speaking the truth. I, Brandon Blackman, understand? Reuben is my foot name. Okay? Assign the grade to Honorable Roosevelt Scurry, A+ for his management and leadership of this economy, Madam Speaker. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I rise to give my support to the supplementary appropriation because every dollar spent by this government is spent to improve the lives of our citizens and to generate economic activity. I heard the member of Wesley say that it is wastage and mismanagement of funds. But Madam Speaker, I say, if $5 million to pay our citizens working on the NEP program is wastage, let the money be wasted on our people. If $8 million spent under the public support program to send a mother who had to do an emergency heart surgery in Guadeloupe is wastage of funds, let it be wasted and invest on the people of Dominica. And I say, Madam Speaker, if the millions spent in community road improvements is wastage and the eradication of pit latrines is wastage, let it be wasted on improving and bringing proper sanitation to the lives of the people of Dominica. Because that is what we're here to do as a government, to improve the lives of our people. So let the funds be wasted in the economy. Because every dollar spent is circulated in the economy. When we give housing assistance of 10 million, where do the people buy the cement? Where do they buy the blocks? Where? It's from businesses in Dominica. So the money is being wasted to generate economic activity. Put money in the pockets of our people. So if the honorable members of the opposition want to consider it wastage, Madam Speaker, that is their business. Because we have seen that they are unconcerned of the welfare of the people of Dominica. And their only priority recently, in recent times, is to destroy avenues of raising money to take care of Dominicans. And let's talk about where real wastage is, Madam Speaker. The wastage occurred when the government had to find resources to help the citizens' buildings which were vandalized and damaged on February 7th. That is where the wastage is. And when the government of Dominica had to find millions of dollars to do damage control to our reputation so that our tourism industry would not be affected, Madam Speaker. That is why. So the wastage comes by the ill doing of the opposition. So they have to talk about wastage. So, Madam Speaker, I say that we live, and Madam Speaker, my contribution is very brief because most of my members who have spoken would have spoken about the different sub-programs the government has to take care of our people. But what I want to say, Madam Speaker, really this morning, is that we live in a civil society. Yes. And there are some among us, Madam Speaker, that wear ties and jackets at different forums. But in the night, they transform, they have caps, black caps, and black shirts, Madam Speaker. And they support the destruction of our country, Madam Speaker. and they undermine and do not uphold our laws. That when they are spoken to and they agree to certain terms and conditions and say you must end that free, and they have declared themselves the law and constitution of Dominica, and say I will end on my own time, Madam Speaker. That threatens law and order in our society. And these are the very same people that expect the youth now to uphold laws in our society. When there are no example for young people. I was speaking to a teacher the other day, Madam Speaker, and she was telling me that sometimes in the classroom, you don't know what to expect from young people. And where do you think they get that behavior from? From the very people who sit in Parliament at times, who approve laws or vote on laws for the proper management of our economies and to proper regulate life in our country. They undermine those very laws, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say...
I'm asking the members, please, and we've had just one moment. We've had a very nice cooperation just for... Can we continue, please? Why is it difficult for things to work nice? No problem, eh? Oh, make the side talk softer, that's all.
So, Madam Speaker, what I want to say, if there are some among us that do not want Dominica to be at peace and do not want to be a part of civil society, maybe we should return in the days of Moses when they used to ship rogues and people who behave badly to another island, Madam Speaker. And they can form their own colony there and have their own laws there, Madam Speaker. I think there's Bird Island. Somebody can go there and form a colony and govern your own self and bring your people, your 100 people or your 6 people along to Bird Island and form your colony and have your own rules and regulations and govern. But the majority of Dominicans want peace in Dominica. Yes. And the people of the Superior Constituency want peace in Dominica. Yes. And the people of the Mao Constituency want peace in Dominica. The majority of our people want law and order to abide. So I'm not sure who they're representing. Because if the majority want law and order, and a few have decided that the only way they will deal with issues in Dominica is by protest.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, the honourable member continues to order 44-1. Standing order 44-1, Madam Speaker. The content of the debate is not in my opinion, Madam Speaker, it violates 44. In terms of the provision of standing orders, debate upon any motion, bill or amendment shall be relevant to such motion, Madam Speaker. I want to suggest that the member gets back on track, Madam Speaker.
Remember, she's talking about the wastage and whatever. She's really replying to something the member said. I tied up what, excuse me, can the speaker have a say, which she would like very much to have? With your permission? I am tying what the member is saying with what I heard before. She seems to be responding to things that were said, and she's trying to say, well, this is what was said, but this is what I think. So, and it is all to do with the supplementary estimates. There's a lot of, you see? So, I don't know that, you know, I pretty much can see when members are going off course. And of course, at the time of budget and at the time of supplementaries, the course is, if you like, widened. But so far, I haven't seen any untowardness. Let's go ahead, please.
Speaker, I'm relating it to wastage, as you said, because every time there's a protest and a riot, the police has to work extra time, Madam Speaker. We have to pay extra funds. When the riot squad have to be at Parliament, Madam Speaker, why should this be so in our society? When on February 7th, when the police had to stay overnight in the early hours, They have to be paid. So that is wastage of the state resources that could be used to do other things. So that is what I'm talking about, the wastage of the state resources by the opposition. And that's what I have said. If they have a problem in living in civil society, they can form their own colony and put up their own flag and live there. But allow the majority of us to live in peace in the country that we love, Madam Speaker. The majority of Dominicans are interested in building their country, not destroying it. So let us build our country, and those who want to give no help in building Dominica, and their only focus is to destroy our image and reputation, that is simply...
Madam Speaker, point of order, Madam Speaker. The member is insisting on indicating in this debate that the intention and purpose of the members of the opposition is to destroy Dominica. That is
I didn't hear that at all. I didn't hear that at all.
You didn't hear that?
I didn't hear her say, no, no, no. The member is saying there are those among us. I'm thinking of Bob Marley's song now.
So yes. So yes, Madam Speaker.
Sometimes I wonder, you know, I wonder. I just wonder. And shake my head. Continue, please.
Yes, Madam Speaker. So as I was saying, the majority of us are interested in building our country. If you recently saw the ground blessing ceremony of Jungle Bay at Sufurier, that is what CBI has done for us. That project will create 200 jobs for Dominicans, enabling people to take care of themselves and their families. So the majority of Dominicans are focused on building this country. And we cannot be put at risk by a few people that decide they want to be disorderly. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say that our Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance continues to show prudence in the management of our country and our affairs. And I want to commend him on this very important job, especially in these trying times when every time you try to go one step forward, some people want to drag you behind. But Dominica will not remain behind. We used to be called the last in the region, but Madam Speaker, we are on our way up to be called the first in the region, thanks to the vision of the Prime Minister and his government. Thank you.
No, I'm going to wind up the debate. Man, this cat and mouse thing. This cat and mouse thing. No, I mean.
You see, this is what, order please, order please, order please. This is what I'm talking about. The Prime Minister stood up. You stood up, stand up, and if you want to speak, speak. The member wants to speak. Can you sit, please? Come and he's going to speak. You know, this is the nonsense that get... I'm asking you to yield to the member to have him speak, please. No, I'm asking...
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Order, please. Order, please. Order. The members, this is not a cat and mouse game. I said so because I know what you members do. If you want, you cannot wait for. No, he's not. You.
Madam Speaker.
You.
Yeah,
You want to speak?
no.
Prime
Madam
Minister, can you yield to the member, please?
Madam Speaker, I'm just making a point of observation.
He's rising on a point of.
Madam Speaker, you can't rise on a point of order.
No, Madam Speaker, I am making the observation that the Honorable Attorney General was on his feet before the Prime Minister stood up. So we assume that he was going to speak.
No.
Yes, you on your seat, until the point there, you went at the back. From there, you went at the back. Yes, he was on your feet.
Madam Speaker.
So therefore, we assume that he was going to speak. So that's why I myself did not stand up.
Assumptions are dangerous things.
Madam Speaker, please sit down. Madam Speaker.
The rule, can I?
Madam Speaker.
Order. Will you take your seat, please?
Madam Speaker.
One moment, please, Honorable Prime Minister, honorable members. The rule is that members are supposed to rise promptly if they wish to speak. You cannot wait to see all the government side speak or all the opposition. Who wishes to speak must stand and speak. I said so this morning.
Madam Speaker,
Just a moment. You said that you saw the member get up and you saw the Prime Minister. The people are sitting so close to each other. Don't you think that the member, the AG could say, I want to speak, don't stand?
respectful.
You don't speak sitting down. You speak standing up.
Madam Speaker, I respectfully respect your observation. However, the Honorable Attorney General was on his feet. Secondly, the Honorable Prime Minister who introduced the motion has the right to close it. He also has the right to ask for an adjournment at any time. So there were issues before here. One, was the Attorney General going to speak, or was the Prime Minister standing to ask for an adjournment of the House? It is Minister One. Yesterday, the House was. Can I, Madam Speaker, could you please give me some protection from the.
No, three people are standing, and that is wrong. You can't listen. I really shouldn't be listening to you. If the member doesn't yield, you can't speak. You know.
Madam Speaker, you raised.
Please sit.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker.
If the member does not yield.
Madam Speaker, it is not a matter of yielding. It is not a matter of yielding. Before on, what is
you want to tell me?
You are trying to resolve an issue that you are not
will
clear
you please take your
House.
seat?
So the Prime Minister should respectfully take his.
Will you please take your seat? Will you please take your seat? Listen.
Madam Speaker, can I say something, please? I mean, these guys.
I don't like the word guys.
Yeah.
I don't consider it parliamentary.
These members, Madam Speaker, I mean, we're in the House to make a contribution. The rules are very clear. We can't be watching and turning to see who's going to speak. If we have something to say, it is incumbent upon the member to stand and to make his contribution. His contribution or her contribution should not be dependent on who's going to speak, who's not going to speak. No, please. Now, I cannot sit as a mover indefinitely to turn around to see who's going to speak, when they're going to speak. It is not my responsibility to determine when any member speaks, including on my side.
Again, Madam Speaker, I stand
Please
on a point
take
of
your
order.
seat.
I'm standing on a point of order,
The
Madam
member
Speaker.
is on his feet.
I'm standing on a point of order, Madam Speaker.
The member is on his feet. I will not hear you.
So
you have to know that unless you are
Madam
invited
Speaker,
to
I'm
speak,
standing on a point of order.
I will not hear you. There's a member on his feet. You don't understand the rules. My goodness
Don't
me.
insult me, I don't understand the rule. Identify the rule, but don't tell me I don't understand the rule.
Members do not understand the rules, otherwise they wouldn't disobey them so blatantly.
Well, respect the
And
members
I
of the House,
say
and don't
so,
insult me, I don't
and the
understand the
member,
rule.
you know, I don't understand it.
Madam Speaker,
Just one moment, please. Just one moment, too. Standing Order 41. 1. A member desiring to speak shall rise in his place, and if called upon, shall address the chair. If the chair does not call upon you, take your seat. That is what is expected of you. And members must respect the chair. When the lady who is sitting here right now is in her chambers, in her car, howsoever, you can say what you want to her. But when the speaker sits here, the chair, the respect is due to the chair, not to me personally. And I wish members would understand that. I see a member standing again. I am not going to call on any member when I am speaking. Y'all making me get on like Judge Judy now. Please, members, please. I don't know if, I get the feeling that some members don't like to see things going nice. It irks them. And so this irksomeness gets to them and they start to react. The member, irksome, pass the member the dictionary, please. Meanwhile, Prime Minister, I'm going to let you speak, but I just need to tell the members. Things have been going very well this morning. Can we continue like that? It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody. And those of us who feel angry about things, I personally take my little bush tea to calm me down. I suggest members do that too. Speak, please.
I stood up to speak. Now, if any member wishes for myself or any other member who is on the floor to yield, then there is a way about doing it. This cantankerous, disruptive attitude or approach is not going to help the process.
Exactly.
Because the rules are the rules.
I don't know,
and
man.
Members
Honestly.
must stop behaving in this manner and giving the people an impression that what they're doing is right and proper and in conformity to the rules. I have no difficulty sitting if somebody wants to speak. But there's been a process. To stand and disrespect the chair and to disrespect the rules is not the way to go, my friend. It's not the way to go. If I have stood up in accordance with the rules and you think you have something to say and you missed the opportunity, there's a respectful way about doing it. So if you want to call on Mr. Austria and talk about seniority and experience in the House, learn from experience in the House. Learn from people who know the rules in the House. You can't just not read the rules and not seek guidance on its interpretation and behave in a manner as if what you're doing is right. I mean, I have been in this House for 17 years, Madam Speaker. We've had some tight debates here. But there's always the willingness to respect the rules and to maintain a certain decorum in the House. I mean, but to approach it this way, I have no difficulty, Madam Speaker, yielding. But there must be a process, there must be a way of doing things, and it must be done properly and in conformity with the rules and with respect to each member. Please, no, not yet. Not yet. Because you've been very, very badly behaved in this House, Senator. I mean, let us conduct the business of the House in a mutually respectful manner. But of course, it's been disrespectful. If someone is standing according to the rule and he is going over the Speaker's authority, and even when the Speaker is speaking, he's contending with the Speaker's during the Speaker's speech. I'm not. No. All I'm doing here.
But the member is talking
All
from
I'm
his
doing
seat
here-
now.
all I'm doing
You know,
here-
this, you members, I don't know. I wish I would get some inspiration from above. I pray for that, to prevent members from doing exactly what members do. One moment. The time is now 22, okay? We usually take our break at 1. After this, a member could have spoken. I don't know if there'll be time or if we're going to take the lunch break now. That's not my call. So can another member speak? Are you going to allow?
I'll suspend one.
Okay, if you're going to suspend the House, that's what I was saying. When the Prime Minister rose, I was asking if he's going to suspend the House because I wanted to say something very important, which I should have said earlier on, and it is this. Today, the 24th of May, is 3 years since the person who sat first as the first female in Dominica and the first female in the Caribbean, female speaker that is, passed away. And I just wanted to permit the House to, remember Mary Davis Spear at this time. Today being 3 years since this honorable lady passed away. And that was all I wanted to get in before the Prime Minister suspended the House. And I hope all those who are angry now do something in their lunchtime to dissipate that anger so we can come back to the House and deal with it as we were doing it in the earlier part of the morning. I hope and pray members take this advice.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House be suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that this honorable House be suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. This honorable House stands suspended, and I haven't gotten up yet. This honorable House stands suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Madam